And a good morning to you, and welcome to the show. The Back Nine Boys Golf Show is brought to you by, each week, Mizuno Golf, Reach Beyond, by Sea Palms Resort. Join and enjoy the miracle practice facility that the pros use. By Bridgestone Golf, play the ball that fits you. And by RMS, sponsor of the RMS Classic, giving back to our community. Want to give a big shout out to Steba, Tony, Brad, Jeff, Herb, Mike, John, Brent. Thank you for coming down to Sea Island. And thank you for the gifts of your time. On the show, we're going to do an award-winning journalist interview with Steve Pike, who will tell us about his travels and is it safe to travel again? And we'll also have discussions about his time with Alice Cooper, Joe DiMaggio, and Jimmy Buffett. And next, we'll talk with Gary Player's son, Wayne, about the incident at the Masters that had him banned for life, his relationship with his dad, and why he was upset at his dad for accepting the Medal of Honor. Then we'll travel to Myrtle Beach to talk live with Kelly Tillman, former Golf Channel talent, and now Mother of the Year in her hometown. But first up is Steve Pike, an award-winning writer and travel expert. Morning, Steve, and welcome to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
Morning, Rich. Happy to be here.
I am so glad that you are here. And being a travel writer for so long, is it safe right now to travel again?
I think it is. You just have to take, the necessary precautions and try to control your environment as best you can. But in the places I've been the last couple of months, people seem to be adhering to all the regulations, and the hotels and the resorts and the golf clubs are still very strict about what they're allowing and what they're not allowing, and everyone seems to be happy and content with it, at least as far as wanting to do it, or they're getting used to it, and they know that it's a way to do things, at least temporarily. So yes, I think it is safe.
Yeah, and I think golf courses especially have grown during this time over the last year and a half. That's been incredible. And now I think people, besides the growing of golf, I think are just, man, I just want to get out. I want to go somewhere. I want to go to a hotel. I want to be served. I just want to relax.
That's right, and people are doing that, and it's almost the new normal. I think it's still a ways away before we see on the golf courses, and the rounds played are great, and the golf sales are great in terms of equipment. It's still a ways away, though, to really see how much of that is pent-up demand and how much of that is sustainable growth. I think we're probably still about a year away from determining exactly how much of a bounce or how much of a recovery the golf industry has really received. In a post-pandemic world, the numbers look great now, but those are based on 2020 numbers. Let's go 2 or 3 more quarters down the road and look again then.
Yeah, well, one of my North Carolina friends, Audie Barefoot, wanted to ask me, what were a couple of your favorite places that you go to?
Pinehurst, definitely.
Yeah.
And where you're at Sea Island, the Cloister and the Lodge at Sea Island are definitely two of my favorites. I like going to Austin and San Antonio, obviously, Kapalua on Maui, and if you're going overseas, Turnberry in Scotland is probably, the Ailsa course is probably my favorite golf course in the world.
Wow. I mean, there's so many different places to go. And, somebody have always asked me, and I don't travel as much as you do, but, where I think the key to any golf trip or travel trip is, would you go back?
Definitely. And I think the key really begins before you get there. I like to do the research. I like to know where I'm going instead of just going in there blind. And then would you go back? That sort of just determines on how much of a good time you had and really
right.
What you know about the place when you got there, and maybe not try to hit everything up, in 30 minutes or an hour and try to make it all encompassing. Save some time or save some stuff for the next trip.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we try and pack too much into it, and we're really not present at the moment.
Right. It's like one of those high school or college trips you took to Europe over 10 days and you saw 12 museums. Well, they all look alike after a while.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's get your opinion on the Premier Golf League. They're throwing out a lot of money. They're 150 grand for last place, a couple million for first place. What are your thoughts? They say it's going to start 2023.
Well, my first thought is show me let's say it's an upstart league. Show me an upstart league that succeeded over the past 50 years. They don't really exist. And I think that the jury, it's easy to say the jury is out on it still, but I think the jury has not even yet begun to deliberate it. They keep tweaking it and sort of moving it around. It's still a moving target. I don't know how much people are going to be interested in. This is sort of the problem that I think the PGA Tour has a little bit too, is you have guys playing for so much money that the incentive to win is not that great. So one of the questions I would have with the new league, if it ever gets off the ground, is where's the urgency to compete? If I'm making $150 for showing up, why do I really care if I win? I'm already a millionaire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you play 10 tournaments and you're fine. And the PGA Tour has taken a pretty hard stand that if you decide to do this, you're done with the PGA Tour.
Yeah, and I'm not sure I buy that because again, it all comes down to money. And if the big stars decide they want to play in this other league, then the tour really will have no choice but to sort of figure out a way to bring them back. But again, we're a long way off from that. There have been other industries and other sports who have big people and big pocketed people, deep pocketed people behind them in the past, and they have failed. So I'm not wishing the Premier League any failure, but history says that it has an uphill battle.
Yeah, I think a tremendous uphill battle. All right, let's talk a little bit about Bruce Kepcke, or whatever. Here's the thing that bothers me. Yesterday, during an interview, he says, "I don't really get up for regular PGA tournaments. I only get up for the majors." I mean, that's a pretty big slam on all the sponsors that are out there that are making him wealthy, that are, offering him an opportunity to play. And he said, "I can't really get up." Of course, he missed the cut, but I can't really get up to play regular PGA Tour events.
Right, and that's sort of an offshoot again of what I was talking about when you have an all-exempt tour and you have guys who win's not the right word, but who are who earn, $200,000 or $300,000 for finishing fifth or finishing sixth.
Yeah.
Then where's the incentive to win? Where's the incentive to even play? And yes, if I was a tour sponsor and I see guys like Kepcke and others say, "Well, I'm not interested in playing your tournament," yet the tour comes back to me as a sponsor and goes, "We want more money next year." You go, why? Why am I giving more money when your players aren't even interested in playing? So why should I be interested in you?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about being interested. The Kepcke, Bryson DeChambeau so-called battle or dislike for each other, pretty evident. But is it a big deal?
I don't think so. I think those things existed long before these two guys were even born. They just happen to be. They just happen to live in an age of Twitter and an age of social media. It's like most things in golf, and I've been doing this for over 30 years now. It's a tempest in a teapot. It's almost like I call it. It's almost like a Seinfeld episode, a show about. And with really nothing else newsworthy these days in golf, because we can't have a Tiger Woods sighting every day. There's really nothing else to report. And something else to report. Things will, people will move on to something else. They're just not there yet.
Yeah, I hear you. Let's talk about a couple of folks that you have been with, played golf with. Joe DiMaggio. How is that for you?
I knew Joe I was very fortunate to know Joe the last few years of his life. Walking on eggshells. He was a very, very nice man, very guarded. You never really knew, if whatever you said, how he was going to react, because he was very private. But you're either going to get a very, very nice man or someone who would just simply look at you and walk away. Uh, that said, you can't do anything but anything else but relish that time. I mean,
Sure.
talking about the Yankee Clipper, and you're
Yeah.
talking about a guy who 50 some odd years after he retired, when he walks into a room, people still stand up and applaud it.
Yeah, exactly.
Guy who was a teammate of Lou Gehrig's,
Yep.
Lou
Yeah.
Babe Ruth. It was special to be around him. It was special to be with him, and I was fortunate that he, for whatever reason, took a liking to me.
Well, you're very likable. What about Donald Trump?
I've always gotten along well with Donald Trump in the few times I've met him. He was always very nice to me, but it was always talking about golf and the golf course and that sort of thing. I think he builds really nice golf courses. I think he builds really nice resorts. I think that Trump National Doral, uh, the Trumps did a great job. Uh, Basically bringing that property back to life, because it was about ready to I don't want to say it was about ready to close, but it was not in very good shape when the Trumps took it over in 2014, I believe.
Yeah.
So he's always been very nice to me. I try to stay apolitical. I don't have a problem with anything he does golf related or with his golf courses.
What about Michael Jordan?
I'm working on a story now for another publication on Michael's new place, Club 23. I'm sorry, Grove 23.
Grove 23, yeah.
Club Sound on the Palm Beach, Morton County border. I've never played with Michael. I've been around him a few times. I actually covered him in college way back in the day, but that's another lifetime.
Yep.
You can always tell he's around because there's always the posse around,
Yeah.
and he's for. You have to remember too that, or I'm always amazed that when I see him, how big he is. Because when you look at him playing basketball back in the 90s and in the 80s, I say he was only 6'6", but he
Yeah.
was small compared to the other players out there. He's a very large man.
Yes. Yeah. You don't realize it until you stand up next to him.
Yeah, a very guarded man too, sort of like DiMaggio, one of these people who you're not really sure how to approach, and a lot of times it's suggested that you don't approach him. But I've seen him to be very accommodating for a lot of people.
Yeah.
When the setting is right, he doesn't like to be bothered. Like most people in some settings, but he's always been very accommodating when I've been around him.
Yeah. Well, he is a interesting individual, as are some of the others that you've been with. Alice Cooper, can you give us about a 30-second about playing with him?
Yeah, Alice was great. I haven't played with Alice in a long time, and that was back a couple of times at some Callaway events. I think once at the PGA Merchandise Show, and then once in Phoenix. Alex could play pretty well back in the day. Full of stories. Very very nice man. Again, very accommodating. We would talk to anybody. Would take his picture with anybody. He was, again, very quiet, very reserved. But just as opposed to the other two, very approachable and likes to meet people, or like to meet people.
Yeah.
And like I said, full of stories, and wanted to know a little bit about you and what you were doing too. So yeah, I would play with Alice again in a heartbeat.
You bet. Steve, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure, and I hope to see you at the PGA show next year.
That'll be, I think, number 32 in a row for me. Looking forward to it.
All right. See you later. Steve Pike,
Thank
travel expert and award-winning writer. Next up is Wayne Player, Gary's son, on his last visit to Augusta National. Coming up on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show. I'm on the Back Nine, actually.
Well, we are still on the kind of in the middle of our round right now, but our next guest is Gary Player's son, Wayne. Good morning, Wayne, and thank you for being with us on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
It's my pleasure, Rich. Great to hear your voice. Yeah, I'm 59 years old, and I'm still being called Gary Player's son, which is not a bad thing. You know?
I think, well, you're always going to be, no matter what your age. I mean, it's like your kids. As soon as they turn 30, 40, they're still your kids.
You bet. My dad still worries about me, still gives me advice, and I don't probably listen to his advice enough. But anyhow, which has got me into some trouble recently again. But you know, you also have to be your own man and do your own things and make your own mistakes, etc. But my dad's certainly been a great role model for us all. That's
well,
for sure.
Let's talk about that. Tell us your side of what happened at the Masters.
Well, you know, it's quite interesting because I really never wanted to go to the Masters this year. My son Jordan wanted to go, and so I went up there with him and my dad's additional good friend Dave King, who always caddies for my dad, or his presence. It's not really a caddy job. It's really just carrying the bag to the first tee. He couldn't make it out of South Africa because of the COVID restrictions. And my dad asked me to caddy. And I said, Dad, rather let, my son Jordan do this. I've done this before. I don't need the exposure or to be out there. And it'll be great for him. And my dad insisted that I do it. So, we got my green hat and my white overall and got my dad's bag. And we are on the practice tee there early in the morning, 6:30, with the elder, who I've only had the utmost respect for. We've been great friends for years. In fact, I once went to the Bahamas with the elder and got him a $25,000 appearance fee from the Bahamian Petroleum Company. So, we've been very close for years. Anyhow, my dad's agent came to me and said, listen, this is a big exposure play, so make sure all of our sponsors, the front panel of the bag, make sure when you stand on the tee that they're facing the cameras.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? So everybody there is got logos all over them.
Right.
Over their hats. It's almost like a walking billboard.
Yep.
Right? Anyhow, so I'm on the first tee, and I'm standing there. I've got the bag placed next to the elder, and time for my dad to play. So I pull out a sleeve of the Encore Vero X1s, which is basically the best ball in golf. Nobody knows it, but they only sell online. They don't do green grass.
Right.
And, my dad's got a commitment with them, and my dad really believes in this ball. It's a great ball. So I've got the box. I give my dad a ball, and I was just holding the box, and I don't know what made me do it, but I thought, nobody knows what ball my dad is using.
Right.
So I thought, well, let me just hold it in a subtle way by my side. And obviously, I'm there next to everybody, and people will be able to see what ball he's using, the brand that he's using.
Well, they do now.
It was a big mistake.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So do you agree?
I didn't even know what guerrilla marketing is. I'm too old for that shit.
I know. So do you agree with the decision by Augusta National?
What's that?
Do you agree with Augusta National when they said they don't want you to come back?
No, they have not said that. They have not made that comment to anybody. Basically, they don't make those comments. That was my brother.
So your brother is the one that said that.
My brother came out of the woodwork. He's the black sheep of the family anyhow. He's basically chastised himself from the family.
Okay.
And it's his sour grapes that he threw all this stuff out to the media. So that even if the Augusta National decided not to have me back, they would not tell the media that. That's not their style.
No, you're right. I was kind of surprised at that, and
where did you hear? You didn't hear that from the Augusta National.
No. I read it online, and that's how I researched it. Do you regret, Wayne, the decision to show the ball?
Well, I do and I don't. I think I could have, if I'd been able to plan it, I would have had a towel around my neck with Vero X1 all over it. And that would have been considered
an issue.
Guerrilla marketing.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Right.
I didn't have the time to plan. And I really believe in this ball. I think it's great. We have a great new product called Player Brand Biltong. I'd like to have had a bag of our Biltong jerky tied around my neck if I could.
Yeah.
I think it was just the way it looked. It just looked Didn't look good.
Right.
You know? And if I had to do it again, would I do it again? No, I wouldn't. But I did. And let me ask you something.
Okay.
If that was a mistake, don't you think people should forgive one for the mistakes made?
Sure.
I sent a very nice email to the right people at the Augusta National,
Okay.
saying that I was very sorry that I made a mistake and that I would ask that they to forgive me. And they
Right.
never even responded.
Wow.
Now,
Well,
have you made a mistake, Rich, in your life?
yes, several.
Right. We all make mistakes. We all do things sometimes that we don't mean.
Yep. Or
It wasn't the end of the world. The media made it out to be bad because
Well,
it was Lee Elder.
and
it's
your
like,
brother.
well, I was taking up some kind of a space of his moment of glory, which couldn't have been further from the truth.
Yeah, and your brother
That's
Mark.
what went down. You know,
Yeah.
it happened. It's done.
Yeah.
Move on. And you know, do I love the Augusta National? Do I need to go back? I've been 40 times. So I don't need to go back.
But
you know, it can be reserved for my sons and the kids and the grandkids going forward. Rather let them do it. And that's what I wanted anyhow. So
right.
there you have it. You know, it's water under the bridge. It's gone, but it was a spur of the moment thing, and yeah, it was just maybe my idea that this was. In the meantime, 50% of the comments I heard was, "Wow, that was fantastic! You're a marketing
Right.
genius."
Right. Right. So your relationship with your brother Mark is kind of up in the air, not very good. What about your relationship with your dad?
Well, my brother was barred by the Augusta National for never coming back because he photoshopped my dad's logo on top of a PXG logo or my dad's hat. You know, so my brother's the one who's got sharp grapes, not me. You know, I just I'm going along. We've got some great new businesses we're doing, and you know, I've got myself in a little bit of hot water over the last few years, but everybody does. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've always been a respectful guy. I've tried to meet my promises. The media have dragged my name through the mud, you know, with some of the incidences that have happened and refused to pull that stuff off the internet. But if that makes them happy, God bless them, you know. But you know, I've paid the price quite heavily for something that was really not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
Well, Wayne, let's get into some positive stuff. Let's talk about your new player brand biltong. Tell us about that.
Well, it's a South African way of making jerky, but it's a new and improved way. We're doing very well down here in Florida. We started this product. Most Americans, when they go to South Africa, they fall in love with our biltong, which is, again, it's a jerky. When you go to South Africa, Rich, you cannot even find jerky. So biltong, for all our listeners out there, is a great product because it's an air-dried, temperature-controlled beef with just a handful of products from, you know, vinegar to crushed coriander to peppers to rosemary, sea salt, and a couple of herbs and spices. And they hang it in these cool rooms with fans for a week, and then they thinly slice it. And it is so tender and so tasteful, you cannot believe it. There's whoever tastes the product just loves it. So people who don't like jerky tend to like our product, and people who like jerky tend to prefer our product. And that I'm being honest to goodness. I'm telling you the truth. We've done very well at golf clubs. We've got my dad on the front cover in a Popeye-like character when he won the 65 U.S. Open at Belle Reve. He was in great shape, and he gave a fist pump.
Yeah.
We've turned that into like a little Popeye character on the front. It's called Player Brand Biltong with our story behind. And it's just been a fun ride. We've started to get big time distribution. We've got some great people who've invested in us. And it's a godsend. It's a blessing from the man upstairs for me and my family and for my partners. And we just can't wait. You know, we've got, this country is so huge. The beef jerky business
is huge
with billions and billions of dollars.
Oh yeah.
And it's just a better snack item. You know, these days, if you can eat a biltong product like we have that has zero sugar and it's very high in protein. You know, I'm a type 1 diabetic. I don't need any insulin if I eat a 2-ounce bag of our biltong. So, you know, if the listeners would like to go to playerbiltong.com, and biltong is spelled Biltong. Sorry to be a guerrilla marketer on your show. It's really a fantastic product. We really have, and we'd like to go on to maybe do a player brand beverage. And this is something my dad just loves. My dad's a spokesman person for us. That's the beauty about it, having my dad. I don't have to pay him being a spokesperson or endorsing our product.
That's
great. Get it for nothing.
That's great.
I told him that if we really start doing well, we'll give him some royalties. So, it's exciting because my dad, he's always been a health and fitness guy and being very passionate about diet, nutrition, etc.
Sure.
Finally, we're taking this to the next level. So, the player brand beverage will be like probably an Arnold Palmer, all organic or, sweetened with monk fruit and nothing, no preservatives, additives, maybe a stick pack. So we're excited with the way we're going forward. And it's a new lease in life. You got to be prepared to make some changes in your life to be successful. And I think COVID has turned a lot of people into coming up with some new, unique ideas of how to make a living.
I totally agree. And Wayne, it is a pleasure to have you on the show, and I appreciate you being so upfront and can't wait to see the biltong. I want to try it.
Yep. You got to order it, but you got to get online.
All right.
Get off.
We'll do it.
Your address. I might even send you a couple of bags for having me on the show.
Hey, I appreciate it. Wayne, thank you for being with us.
You bet, guys. Have a blessed day.
All right, you too. Up next, Mother of the Year in Myrtle Beach, former Golf Channel female announcer, the first one to do play-by-play on TV. Kelly Tillman is up next on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
Hey guys, my name's Chesson Hadley. I play golf on the PGA Tour, and I'm on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
And welcome back. I'm Rich Stiles. Glad you're with us. Our next guest is Kelly Tillman, a native of Myrtle Beach. Good morning, Kelly, and welcome to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. It's good to be with you.
It's a pleasure. I've been working with Chris to try and get you with an interview, and I'm just thrilled that you're having the time to do it today. Thank you for doing that.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm glad that you took time to talk to me and, maybe share a little bit of my story and hopefully what we're doing in the area to raise some good funds for some kids.
Do want to do that, but I do want to ask you first about being named Mother of the Year by Family Golf Week. What an honor for
you. Thank you. Yeah, what a tremendous honor. Wow. I'm just like any other mom out there, just doing my best to raise a good kid. And I have a beautiful daughter, and I took time away from my job a few years ago to really dig in with her, knowing this would be my golden opportunity, and I didn't want to miss it. So, for the few reasons that I chose to retire from the Golf Channel after just a lengthy and completely memorable run, she was number one on my list. And she's wonderful. She's taken up the game, and she's also in love with tennis, and we have a lot of fun playing sports together. And she's just in the throes of her getting her academic life started right now. So it's a real exciting time, and I am so thankful to the folks at East Coast Golf Management and Family Golf Week for thinking of me, and I dedicate it to all the moms out there, because there's a lot of us who are working hard and just so blessed to be able to have this honor to be a mom.
You bet. And you did say that your daughter Ryan is into golf. That's got to be fun for you.
I'll tell you, two of the best tips I ever gleaned from covering the game came from Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson, and from Tiger, it was learning how to play your par. His dad taught him to play from a yardage that he would be able to make pars and birdies at a young age, and he would extend the golf course as Tiger would get older, bigger, and better. And he was not afraid to go low as a result of it. And moving those tee markers accordingly is real smart, and that's how we're starting with her. We play her real close to the green, and we work our way back as she grows. So it keeps it fun. And then the other one from Phil was, he told a story once about his dad, saying that he wouldn't let Phil putt out on the last hole to end a round when Phil just wanted to put the number up. And he wanted him to really be hungry to come out the next day and do it again. And so we have a great time. And when she looks like she's having the most fun hitting balls or playing around with golf, I'll say, honey, 10 more minutes and we're done. Oh, no, Mom, I want to keep going. So I'm trying to keep it fun for her in the spirit of what I learned from Tiger and Phil. And it's so far so good. And I'm thrilled that we might have a chance to play this game for a lifetime together.
Yeah, that sounds like a better way to learn than what, most of us do, is we start from way back and keep moving up as we get older.
I know I was a kid that grew up like that. And I was lucky to play at a high level, but, maybe I could have gone even lower if I'd done it that way. Who knows?
Yeah, you're right. That's a much better way to look at it. So tell us about the Family Golf Week that's coming up in your hometown of Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, I'm so excited. The foundation that I began with a few close friends of Gene Weldon, my mentor, who passed away from cancer in 2017. We started this for him. Gene's Dream Foundation, it's called, and we're raising money for youth area golf programs. And our tournament, our flagship tournament, is called the Mentor Cup. When Gene's good friend and fellow board member of our foundation, Mike Busaroni, told me about what he does with East Coast Golf Management and Family Golf Week. I thought it was the perfect fit. He thought it was the perfect fit to move into his week in July. We originally staged our events in October. Our Mentor Cup, our big fundraisers we've done for the last 2 or 3 years. We're always around that Halloween date. And we had, good fields. There was no reason to move, to be honest with you. Tidewater was so accommodating, giving us that day on the schedule. When Mike told us what he was doing, it just seemed like a perfect segue and a perfect fit to join up with the families that come there. And hopefully some of those families come and play in our Mentor Cup tournament, because it's 2-person teams, as you may know, with featuring mentors and mentees. And that begins at home with the family. So I hope we can grow with them and make more of a difference in children's lives.
Yeah. Can you give us the website so our listeners can go to it and find out more about it?
Absolutely. I encourage you to go to, there's two websites that I encourage you to go to, genesdream.com. That's GENESDREAM.com. And also mentorcup.com. Just as it sounds. And also, you can visit familygolfweek.com as well. That's East Coast Management's golf site, and it'll tell you all about Family Golf Week as well as what we're doing. But we're the kickoff event. So moms and daughters, fathers, sons, mentors, mentees of any combination, student, teacher, etc. It doesn't matter the combo, as long as you're with someone that you're trying to inspire or has inspired you. We welcome you to come play in our tournament at the gorgeous Tidewater Golf Club. What a great spot. We call it the Pebble Beach of the East. And it's going to be a great time on Sunday, July 11th.
Sounds like a great event. I should probably try and do it with one of my sons. That would be fun.
I would love to have you come do that. I'm talking my daughter into playing with me for the first time, and she's hedging a little bit because it's a lot of golf for her, but I'm trying to convince her. So I hope that she and I will be a team for the first time. I'm so excited to have a memory like that with her.
Oh my gosh, that would be just wonderful. All right, let's go back a few years. You were at Duke while I lived in North Carolina, and you played there at Duke on a scholarship, and then you went out on tour for about 4 years. Mostly.
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah, and how did that go for you?
Yeah, what a great chapter in my life, and I'm glad to share some regional ties with you as well in that area. I mean, how fortunate were we to be able to be in that neighborhood and be associated with some of the great people who are in that school and in that area. Not to mention the other schools as well, but I had a real great privilege of playing for Duke University. I was probably a peak golfer in my junior days as a teenager. That was probably when I played my absolute best golf, and I was lucky that it happened then because I was noticed by the Hall of Fame coach Dan Brooks. He was just getting started in his 30-plus year tenure at Duke, so I was honored to play for him. And we started something together with this program. So played 4 years there. I picked up a win at Furman, which was nice to put that on the resume. And then I actually thought I wasn't going to go on and play pro. I thought I was going to maybe go on and go to law school or something like that. I got a little distracted from the game academically and just personally. But after I graduated and decided against the law school avenue, I thought, well, maybe I should give this a try. I put so much work into it.
Right.
So I got my European Tour card. I played also in Asia and Australia and made a couple of tries at Q School on the LPGA. And I didn't get through that, but what a great experience to travel the world for 4 years and make a lot of friends. And I'll just button that, this subject by saying I was paired with Annika at the NCAA championships at Ohio State my senior year. She was a freshman at the time, and she won the whole thing. I saw her talents right there, first person account. And then my first big pro tournament was the Australian Open in 94 at Royal Adelaide. And that was her first ever pro win. So there she was again. And I knew the writing was on the wall for me.
Yeah.
I didn't have nearly the chops that she had. So I enjoyed my run, and she and I are good friends to this day. Our kids have played together and gone to birthday parties together, and I just adore her. And, we joke a lot about how our paths, diverged and then started to run parallel in different genres. So I value the friendship and the lessons learned all along the way.
Well, then after that, you took a position with this upstart company called the Golf Channel. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh man, we were born together in the industry. I was an intern at WPTV in Palm Beach, and really not having a clue after I'd left the game, wondering what I was going to do with my life, but got lucky and scratched out an internship there through a connection and made the most of it. The weekend sports anchor at that NBC affiliate convinced me to go tee it up in a charity golf tournament to be his partner. And I went with him, and I ended up hitting balls warming up for the round next to a tall, lanky guy who had a full head of hair at the time named Scott Van Pelt. And, he was working at the Golf Channel, and I I asked him what he did, and he told me about it. And he said Arnold Palmer was backing it, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me! This sounds perfect for somebody like me.
Yeah.
I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but he helped get me in the door there, and we came up very, very much the same way through the videotape library. That's where we got our first job. Then we worked all the production jobs, and eventually broke our way on to the air. And he's still a dear friend to this day. I see him at every major that I go to, and we still text from time to time. But I value the friendship, and I value the career paths that we share. And what a run, 22 years, merging with NBC, being able to cover some Olympics, doing a little play-by-play with Nick Faldo. I just can't tell you how surreal it is when I look back on this career, and I feel so lucky.
Well, you were great at it. You became the first female play-by-play on a golf tournament. Some wonderful memories for you. Let me ask you this. How was it? You had a special relationship with all the people you worked with, but you also had a very special relationship with a guy that everybody knows, Mr. Arnold Palmer. You caddied for him at the par 3 tournament at the Masters. How fun was that for you?
Yeah, I just mentioned the word surreal. I mean, just imagine what it's like to be on the bag for Arnold Palmer on the greatest stage in golf. He is iconic. I don't like to throw that word around loosely.
Right.
Truly iconic, the definition of the word. And to be able to be on a bag for him in the jumper with the green hat, walking from, green to tee with not only Mr. Palmer, but also he was playing with Jack Nicklaus and Gary Player. I was on his bag the very first year they began that tradition, what is now tradition. So you talk about an honor, but to know what it's like just to be in the presence of him as all the patrons are leaning over the ropes, just trying to get close to him. It was the coolest thing I've ever experienced by far. And he's Mr. Cool, isn't he? And I got to get a piece of that. And I can't tell you the energy that you feel. But they were reverent. They were reverent and adoring.
Yeah.
They weren't crazy. They weren't out of control. They were reverent and adoring patrons. And just to have that opportunity, not once but twice, to walk with Jack, Gary, and Arnold beyond the bag, I'll cherish it forever. I call it the highlight of my career, and I'll always look back on it fondly.
Well, you've had many highlights. We want to hear about some more, but we got to take a quick break, which I'm sure you understand. We'll be back with Kelly Tillman, formerly of the Golf Channel, Mother of the Year, right after this on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
Hey, this is Jim Furyk from the PGA Tour, and you're listening to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
Hey, welcome back. I'm Rich Stiles, and we're glad you're with us. And we are also so glad to have Kelly Tillman with us, formerly of the Golf Channel. Kelly, I am going to ask you a question. You may not want to answer, and that's okay. But do you mind talking about the controversy that happened while you were at the Golf Channel about your remarks with Tiger Woods?
Sure. Absolutely. I mean, that was a long time ago, and with some great lessons learned, and I value the support that I received from everyone during that whole time, and just being kind of young and up and coming on the stage, there was a lot happening, and so much circumstance, and I think once I was able to take a step back and truly understand the situation, and really the greatest lesson learned, I think, was that intent doesn't always equal perception.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyone who knows me knows my heart's always in the right place, and I valued my friendship with Tiger through that as well. He knew me better than most, and understood that there was no intent behind the comments. But sometimes you have to learn your lessons in real time, and I know I did that, and you have to respect the fact that what you say isn't always what you mean to say isn't how people always interpret it.
Yeah.
And it's important to understand emotions and history and context when you speak. It's just one of the responsibilities that you have on air.
Yeah. There is a lot of responsibility on that, and I just did thank you for being willing to talk about it. Let me ask you this: since you've left the Golf Channel, since you've played, how has the game changed? I mean, I know the equipment is way beyond anything I can imagine. But what are your thoughts about how the game has changed?
Well, I think that the athletes are getting stronger, and the equipment is, more technologically advanced than ever to accommodate a lot of the amateurs who want to play more like the professionals.
Right.
And because the professionals can get their hands on that equipment too, it certainly accelerates the game at speeds with which we're probably not familiar or didn't anticipate. But it's the job of the USGA and all of the governing bodies that are affiliated with them to do what's best for both parties, the amateurs and the pros. There's a lot of great minds that are working on it, and just like politics, there are a lot of differing opinions on how it should be approached, that players included. So, I for one love seeing how far they can hit the ball. I think golf courses need to accommodate that and make wider shots more punished if that's the case, so that you can't just have an open ballpark. But there are a lot of factors at play, and that's a conversation that we probably wouldn't even have enough time today or the next few weeks to sort out.
Right. Yeah, it's changed a lot in a lot of different ways. The technology has changed, the TV has changed, and the announcing has changed a lot. But please give us the websites again for Gene's Dream so our listeners can be reminded about going to it to help.
Yeah, I appreciate that. GenesDream.com, GenesDream.com, and also MentorCup.com. And please come and join us. We're trying to raise a lot of very important money to continue to support our local First Tee chapter, First Tee of Coastal Carolinas. We're trying to reach children and families who would not otherwise have access to this great game that paved the way for people like me and like you who've had great jobs as a result of it.
Yeah.
Not just about making good golfers. It's about making good citizens and good people and giving children confidence and access and all kinds of great things. That's important. I know I benefited from it, and I want these kids to benefit from it as well. And they've been struggling. Our chapter's been struggling financially, and we're trying to help them in that struggle and get them out of it.
Kelly,
so
thank you.
Even if you don't want to play, hopefully you can donate $1 or $2 and make a difference in a child's life.
You bet. We're glad to do that. Kelly, thank you for taking time to be with us. Good luck and congratulations on being Mother of the Year.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Take care.
Kelly Tillman, formerly of the Golf Channel, Mother of the Year for the Family Golf Week. Go up and take a look at it and see if it's something you and your son or daughter might be interested in playing in. Thank you for being with us on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show. I'm Rich Stiles. We're here every Saturday and Sunday from 8 to 9, right here on ESPN Coastal, back9boys.com. We just thank you. Thank Cody Queen for producing, and thank you for being with us.